The leader of the opposition, Philip J. Pierre, promised to reset the button on what he deems to be the failed policies of the Alain Chasny-led administration. Pierre, in Sunday's broadcast, touched on familiar subjects like corruption in government, the national debt, healthcare, and his vision for a more inclusive economy and society, one he says that facilitates the participation of the many and not just a privileged few.
Major problems continue to confront us in the areas of healthcare, crime, education, youth unemployment, economic inequality, and corruption. These problems have been aggravated in recent times by bad governance and, in particular, blatant acts of corruption in government. If we are to address these problems adequately as a country, we need a servant leader we can trust. Not a sweet-talking leader, telling untruths and doing so unashamedly, indicating clearly his contempt for the people of St. Lucia.
The leader of the opposition promised to turn back the tide on what he says is the surging level of corruption in government. He says those involved in corrupt practices will have to account for their misdeeds.
The current abuse of direct awards in the procurement of contracts excludes a significant number of businesses and professionals wishing to offer their service to government. These direct contracts to a few preferred friends is wrong and continues to be a source of government corruption. A Labour government will level the playing field by making the required changes to limit political interference in the award of contracts.
The opposition leader is taking the government to task for its failure on healthcare.
For 3.5 years, work has been stopped on the St. Jude Hospital and the buildings left to deteriorate. Meanwhile, our sick relatives and friends continue to perish, and medical personnel languish in very trying conditions in a makeshift hospital located in a sports stadium. And a few hundred yards away, the government has been available to find all the financial resources for the completion of a horse racing track. A case of horses before people. This uncaring demonstration by the government for the health of St. Lucians, particularly in the South, must never be allowed to be forgotten.
Philip J. Pierre is advocating for a shared vision for St. Lucia, one he says that encourages the participation of the wider public, while, he says, demonstrating regard for St. Lucia's people, heritage, institutions, and patrimony. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.